Hi everybody, and welcome back to my daily drops. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, the daily drops philosophy is each day I try to give a piece of my personal learning and growth, the philosophy is that each of those pieces of learning and growth are a drop, like a raindrop that comes from the sky, and each of those drops goes into a water body, a stream, which then flows into a lake, which then flows into the ocean, which then takes over the earth. So each of these little drops is contributing to my wider learning and growth, and hopefully can help somebody else learn and grow as well. And they're quite vulnerable sometimes, and especially today's I think is going to be a bit vulnerable for me. At the moment, I'm on my way to the New View Family Barbecue. So you can see I have my New View hat on here. That's where I work. It's a non-profit society that works with people with severe mental illness, and I'm the executive director there, for those who don't know. And I'm also wearing a shirt that is very appropriate for my daily drops. I don't know if you can see there, but it's Evolve is one of my sponsors. They make climbing shoes, and it says always evolving. So that's definitely me and definitely appropriate for the daily drops. So I apologize if there is some background traffic noise, but I am doing this on the go. So my daily drop today so this morning I listened, those of you who've listened to these before will be familiar with the fact that I listened to Oprah's Super Soul Conversation podcast, and I try to just take one thing away from each podcast, and I always do without fail. And this morning I was listening to one on an interview with Brene Brown. For those who are not familiar with Brene Brown, I'm a huge fan of her work, and I very much encourage you to look up her TED Talk. Her 2010 TED Talk on vulnerability. It was a life changer for me. But the thing that I took away this morning, there was lots of things. I had like a whole notepad of notes from it. But the one thing was, he or she who is willing to be the most uncomfortable can rise strong. And although I don't necessarily feel like I'm in a place right now where I need to rise strong per se, I don't feel like I'm in a bad place or anything like that. Something has been nagging at me and niggling at me since I got back from the World Cups. And where my whole purpose of going to the Lead and Speed World Cups, and I'd never been to World Cups in those disciplines before, was the whole point of it was the learning and the growth, the experience of it, seeing, what the style of competition was like, what the level of competition was like, what were the mental factors that I was going to need to take into account competing at the qualifying competitions in a year's time. Hi there, Winston Adventures. And I've come back and people have been asking me, how did you go? And that's what I've been saying. It was really successful. It achieved what I wanted it to achieve. When people are asking about results, because of course it's a competition, I've been saying, well, I didn't come last. And that's true. And it's partly because I did not put emphasis on results in these competitions, because that wasn't the goal or the point for me. But at the same time, I also feel like, well, why am I avoiding telling people how I went? Why am I avoiding telling people what my results were? And if I'm really honest with myself, I am scared that people are going to hear my results and be like, well, what justification does she have? Why does she deserve to be aiming for this huge goal of training to try to compete in the Olympics if she's getting results like this? And while for me that's not the point, and there's a lot more factors that go into it, and my results here really don't have any bearing whatsoever on whether or not I qualify for the Olympics, or even whether or not I'm good enough to try to qualify for the Olympics. They're completely irrelevant. But I have been avoiding doing that. So very publicly here, I'm going to announce my results. And I feel, even though I can justify and say that I truly, genuinely do not actually care about my results because it's not what the experience was about, I still feel very nervous and very vulnerable about saying them. So here goes. So in Villars, in the lead competition, I came 61st out of 64. In the speed competition, I came 50th out of 53. In Chamonix in lead, I came 86th out of 92. And in speed, I came 56th out of 62. So, having said that, and having done my vulnerability piece and my daily drop for today, I hope that you enjoyed it, and thank you very much for the encouragement, Windstand Adventures. And I will be back hopefully tomorrow with my next daily drop. Thanks so much for listening. Bye!